Background check for daycare workers. So in this video we're going to go over local resources that the public has to do a background check on daycare workers and providers. If you go to sheriffsdepartment.net, you'll find resources for all 50 states, and I'm going to go ahead and go over how to use them. For this example, I'm going to select the state of Maryland. The procedures are going to be very similar from state to state. So one of the first options you have is to do a quick nationwide scan. This goes over public records, it goes over certain private databases, deep web type of databases, so it's a mixed bag. The search is instant, and then if you wanted to get the full, it'll give you some information for a full report. There is a fee, but this is a very quick way to gather information. I like to use this in combination with state checks. State check allows you to really zoom in on particular records, a particular state or county, and these are going to be direct from the state. So it's going to be the most updated record. You do have to keep in mind that state records are going to be limited to that particular state or that particular county. So if people move around, people travel, there could be some records outside the state. So that's why it's good to have that nationwide check on top of it. So the most common things when it comes to a background check, you have your court records, recorder's office, you have criminal records. If somebody possibly is driving for the job or for service, driving records, you can look up the business if it's official. With the state, prison records, and then of course your sexual offender registry. And then at the we also offer information for the most populous counties in each state, and this could include things again like court records, jail records, and property records if that's needed. So you could take a look at those. Let's go into a little detail here, into more detail with the court records and the criminal records. Criminal record probably being the most sought after when it comes to background check. And each state will have a variation of the service directly from the state. Sometimes they do use a third party, and they will let you know which vendor they prefer to work with, if that's the case. You have background checks for employment, you have background checks that require fingerprints outside Maryland, and so there are various types of background checks that they have options for, and if you just take a look at that page, it will give you the price breakdowns and the types of background checks available. So like for instance, just a state only check will be about $18. If you want to add the FBI, which is more of like it gives you like a national type of a criminal database, it's not necessarily going to be as detailed as doing like a state check, but it's still something. And they have a specific one, looks like for child care volunteers. So they will have a price, and then they'll give you the instructions on how to go about it. So each state has something similar to this. We have done the research for you, so you don't have to look for it. Another thing to consider are court records, and court records will include civil, criminal, traffic, and other various court records available. Sometimes you could do a statewide search. Certain states don't have a statewide check, so you'll have to do it at the county level. And these can be done a lot of times for free, particularly docket searches. So you're able to look up cases. As soon as it goes to a judge, it becomes a public record. So whether it's civil, criminal, traffic, it's a public record. So you're able to research these records and see if there's anything of concern. Another database to look at would be business lookup. If somebody's claiming it's an official entity, you could check them out, make sure everything is legit. you have your inmate locator, and in this case they're prison records. Each state will have a statewide search similar to this. There's a difference between jail and prison. Typically if they have to serve a sentence of more than a year, like a more serious crime, they'll end up going to prison. If it's something a little bit less significant, it's going to be a jail. So if it's under a year, typically they're going to be in a jail, so you won't find them here, and you got to check at the local level at like a sheriff's department. Whoever runs the jail, typically it's the sheriff's department. And then you have the sexual offender registry. Each state has a database which can be looked up for free. Sometimes the local county, maybe sheriff's department, will also have their own database that they maintain. And again, just keep in mind these are state and sometimes county specific records, so people do move around. If you know of previous addresses or previous locations somebody might have been passing through, it might be a good idea to check those places out, or do this in combination with a nationwide check to make sure nothing is missed. So I'm going to go ahead and drop a link in the description, or just type sheriffsdepartment.net in your browser and get started.